Here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Daniel Praise Osedebame. We'll be looking at the pressing oil issue. You know, Nigerians are still managing to strike a balance between the oil subsidy removal and the current economic crisis. Everyone is on this table as far as this discussion is concerned this morning, and I have a very seasoned author, and he's also a public speaker and a very renowned business expert joining us from Lekki, Lagos, Nigeria. He's the person of Dr. Boniface Chezia. Dr. Boniface, good morning, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you, Praise, for having me. Thank you.
We sincerely apologize for the little glitches we experienced. But moving on, Dr. Boniface, you're going to help us now. The recent subsidy removal, what are the most immediate impact you have seen on both consumers and businesses, especially SMEs?
Well, I think that the subsidy removal was a misstep. You know, most of us thought that that wasn't the way to go. You know, what we did there, well, most of the hardship we have in this country today is because of that fact, the way we tried to do that. Of course, it's on record that everybody has talked about subsidy. We shouldn't have it. It's not the right way to go to begin to have subsidies and so on, because the subsidy itself, it doesn't get to the targeted people, and then also it creates avenue for all sorts of malpractices. So you put the subsidy there, and the product becomes cheaper than what it is when you cross the border. So it encourages. You find that when you have subsidy, but the amount of fuel you consume in your place, you know, is overly exaggerated. So that's a massive waste attached to it. But the way we went about it, it's very dangerous. That's why, you know, fuel price went from under 200 to what it is today, you know, more than 1,000 naira. So most of the hardship is there. So it's affected everybody across board. You know, the hardship you have today, the pains you have across, the fact that the president is being called a T-pain and so on and so forth, is because of this, you know. I mean, issue of rate of exchange is also there, but yes.
Now, every successive administration has always promised Nigerians that they are going to fix the refinery. The refinery will be working. In fact, some will give you time frames. Some will tell you our 100 days in office, we should be having our refinery working, but it hasn't been like that. Back then, when we have modular refineries working in some states, it has helped to cushion the scarcity. But currently, we are not even having our major refineries working again. But the fear of people or Nigerians, as it were now, is the issue of monopoly. We have only one man, as it stands now, who has taken the bull by the horn to have a standard refinery in the country. But we are still moving back and forth with price tags. If independent marketers will be lifting directly or won't be lifting directly. Help us make sense of this, Dr. Chizia. The issue of monopolistic practice in Nigeria oil sector. How is it affecting our refineries?
Well, I think that the first thing to address is the fact of the refineries not working for this long. You know, we've had how many refineries? We have two in Port Harcourt, one in Warri, and one in Kaduna. And they've not worked. Why have they not worked? I think that's the thing. You know, I think that's the fact that you have corruption that's embedded, you know, embedded in the system. You know, people have powerful interests that didn't want refinery to work. That's exactly what it is. It was affecting what they were doing, and so they didn't want it. So, and these are people who are in a position to, you know, to influence things. And that's why it is not worked. And now we are trying to get Dangote on board. Let me even put things in context. When Dangote Refinery we were waiting, we were anticipating the thing to, you know, to start operation. Most of us did say that this was going to be the savior we were waiting for. But then when the thing tried to come on stream and so on, and Dangote himself announced that they are ready to begin to, you know, to move out the products. You know, and then also manners and stories started coming, you know, and when people start talking about monopoly, I say to them, you know, monopoly, somebody spends $20 billion to put a refinery in place. Go and bring your own and put it there. And let's have context. If you want to have, if you don't want to have monopoly, it's a straightforward thing. Dangote is producing, then you revive, privatize. I say it. I'm on record. Privatize Port Harcourt, the two in Port Harcourt, the one in Warri, and privatize the one in Kaduna. Sell it to the private sector. Let them begin to operate. Create competition. So, but we talk about Dangote wants to come to start operation, and we're all confused. We don't know what is happening today. And so, people talking about monopoly, we should not listen to them. I think that the whole space.
If you are suggesting, we shouldn't listen to those talking about monopoly, Dr. Chizia, you are a business expert. We have refineries that is not working, but we have people working there collecting fat salaries every month. Economically, is this wise?
Obviously, it's not wise. That's why I say we should privatize. You see, let's not deceive ourselves. Let's not deceive ourselves, because the public sector has shown itself incapable of managing that space. So I think that we should, we should hands up this thing. Obasanjo, when he was going to leave the stage, tried to privatize, but then Yar'Adua came and then reversed it. I think that was, with the benefit of hindsight, that was a very wrong decision. I'm sure by now we would have moved on much further than where we are. And, most of these missteps will account for, the reason why we are still where we are. So that's exactly what it is. So we have refineries, they are not working, and then we now have one that wants to come here, the largest single train refinery in the world, and they won't let it operate. The seventh, no matter how you see it, the whole world. So it's a massive investment. And instead of us to concentrate and all hands to be on deck, to have this refinery working, we are talking about monopoly. Like you said, you have people who spend so much humongous amount of money, paying salaries, and no productivity done. How is this economy going to progress?
Okay, now the issue of the crisis in the Middle East, some persons are already tying it to the neck of this fuel scarcity in Nigeria. But you help us now. How do you compare Nigeria's refinery issue to what's happening in other oil-rich countries? Are we facing unique challenges, or are we just on the same train with the global trend?
Well, there's an echo in this. I don't know.
Did you get what I said?
Yeah, I got it, but the echo, I think the echo is interfering.
Okay,
the echo.
But can you hear us now?
Well, I'm hearing this somewhat.
Okay.
You are talking about, yes.
How do we now compare our predicament to the wider global trend as far as oil sector is concerned? Are we facing a different challenge, or we are just on the same train with other oil producing nations?
But Nigeria has been unique as an oil producer. I don't know of any other oil producer that imports refined product. I don't know. I think that we're in a unique place, and then we remain so because we've done something that we should not do. But I think that's essentially so. We are in a unique place, and so it's very difficult for us to begin to looking at where we are to begin to extend it and begin to compare ourselves with other oil producers. We are the sixth oil producer in the world. What none, the oil producer. In fact, others even have refinery decent capacities outside their place. Particularly those in the Middle East. So they go outside their place, they go to Europe, and they set up refineries. So we are not there, and then we are refining and we are exporting it, and we are importing it. So I think that there are lots of challenges we have, and which makes us unique. Like I said, there are not two OPEC producers that endow with crude resource, and that they cannot refine what they produce.
So do you now suggest we go back to local refineries, especially in the Niger Delta region? Will you suggest that?
Yes, I did say that we should privatize, not government. We've had stories about turnaround maintenance and so on and so forth. We had promises. Even this present administration did promise us that there've been also so many missed promises about when Port Harcourt Refinery will come on stream. So the president said so. They promised us. None has delivered on that promise. And so when we look at our economy and we're complaining about the economy, partly that's why one of the reasons why we're not making any progress. So, and the way to go forward is to look ourselves on the face and tell ourselves a simple truth that we're not able to manage it. The place is so corrupted with corruption is taking over the place. And so I think that we should sell it. Sell it. I don't even mind to sell it to see interest. We just sell it and get the same product being productive. And if we did that, yes, competition is very good for any business. So if Dangote, we're talking about the price and so on, but that should even delay us. I said to myself, Nigeria is supposed to have about 20% equity in Dangote Refinery. And so we should be able to have a committee and sit down with Dangote and make sure that he doesn't operate as a monopoly. We sit on the board, and then the board decides and say, look, but then there's interference. And NNPCL, we've been told it's privatized, but then it's all over the place. Dictating is going to be the only sole off-taker, is going to dictate the price, and so on. Dangote is quoting a price, NNPC is quoting a different price. Dangote is telling us that its own price is lower than that of Dangote. Major oil marketers are saying they're going to import overseas because it's cheaper. And Dangote is saying to them, it can be cheaper because their own price is benchmarked on what it is, international price. And it has to be so because Dangote has borrowed lots of money and he has to operate this in a profitable way to be able to pay back the money he has borrowed. And so if the price, Dangote is benchmarked on international price, and then you go and import it at the same price overseas, and then you bring it back, and you kill all those costs to bring it back, how is it going to be cheaper? Like he did say, except you're importing very poor quality products. Look at this Dangote we're getting from Dangote showed us. It's like as clean as water. We've not seen anything like that before. Diesel we have in this country, this environment, is dirty diesel. And so these are challenges. We need to tackle the corruption in that space and tackle it frontally. And that's exactly what we needed to do.
Okay, talking about tackling corruption, Dr. Chezia, to an extent, cost of living in Nigeria is choking the living as we speak. Small and medium scale businesses, they are almost folding up. You go to a hairdressing salon, barbing salon, those who do photocopying. Those days, if you want to photocopy, if you have 10 naira, 15 naira, you should have a copy. But now it's about 150 naira in some states. How will these modular refineries and supporting Dangote to strike a balance in the oil industry in Nigeria, how will it improve SMEs?
Well, let me first of all tell you that what we are seeing now is a child's play. It will get to a stage, in fact, that you talked about SMEs not being able to operate and so on. It's not really SMEs. You go to supermarkets and you'll not find anything. Now we are complaining about prices. So inflation is there, 4% and more, and increasing. But you go to the supermarkets, you can still find products to buy. But in countries that are overtaken by inflation, very soon you won't find any products. You won't find any. You go to the supermarket with your money, and you won't find any products because they're not able to to bring them in anymore. And even if they did, because you have galloping inflation, it's difficult to manage. So the whole environment becomes an uncertain and unpredictable environment. How do you manage that? So how do you buy something? You don't know what the price will be, but you want to sell it again, and so on. So I think that's the challenge. When you're talking about small medium scale enterprise, the economy, the middle class is being wiped off. Remember, I told you I traveled to Benin for a weekend.
That's true.
When I asked for the price of flying to Benin, and they told me to go and come back 300,000 naira. I said to myself, I'm a retired person. I went back. God is good, and I've not done for a long time. The same when I go for Christmas and I'm driving my car.
And those days, with this amount you mentioned, you go to Dubai and return.
Yes, I can go overseas.
Last 2 years, yeah.
Yes, yes. So the middle class is being wiped off.
Okay, Dr. Chezia, how does the current import reliance for petroleum products strain Nigerians' foreign reserves? Because
praise. We spend 33%, 1/3 of our foreign exchange expenditure on importing petroleum products. That's a link. If we stopped importation, people are saying they will import, and then because the price is cheaper overseas. But for us, we're not putting the whole thing in context. Because you see, when we stop importation, this country will save 30%, 33% of what it spends importing this product. So you save this money, automatically you are increasing the supply of dollars within the economy. That's what it is. And if you increase the supply, and really the rate of exchange, demand supply, so you have the demand, which is insatiable, but then the supply is not there, it's dwindling. And so we're borrowing money and putting money, borrow money, we put it in the market and so on and so forth. That's not sustainable. You cannot sustain it. So if you remove 30% demand from this market, it will impact on the rate of exchange. And this hardship we have in the economy will begin to, get a handle on it.
There has been back and forth, Dr. Chizia, on the issue of saving from the petrol subsidy removal. If you recall, when the president actually said the petrol subsidy was gone, and of course, just a month into his administration, we were getting update on amounts saved, but we are not really getting that in public space again. So since the removal was partly justified by potential savings, how effectively are these funds being redirected? Are they reaching their intended purpose, Dr. Chizia? Do you think it's getting to its intended purpose?
We don't have transparency in the environment. We cannot kid ourselves. When you talk of corruption in this system, it's because part of it is lack of transparency. But there's something we need to also take on board. When we talk of subsidy on petroleum products, what was happening essentially was we were doing under recovery. It's not as if we are bringing money and putting into, so you brought the thing and the thing landed in our ports at say 10 naira, and you are selling it at 6. So that subsidy is not as if you are bringing money and you put in there. No, you under recover, and so to the extent that you under recover, then that's implied subsidy. But I think that what really, so when we talk about subsidy removal, it's not as if once we did that, money is going to come in. No, money will not come in. Essentially what the former procedure did was that it started the process and then bloated government expenditure. Yeah. So, but what would really be very impactful is managing the rate of exchange. Managing the rate of exchange is going to be very impactful. Yes, but of course, I've heard the president say that something is input here, is put there. But like I said, additions should have been done in a way that everybody can see. A third party can see exactly transparently that this is what has happened. So we've said this money is been from, say, according to said so to us, that this is money with save and subsidy. Then where did it go to? But like I said before, too, the woman puts it in context is saying that that subsidy, we're not bringing money and putting it in the market. We're just on that recovering expenditure.
So you talked about transparency. I would like us to dwell on it a little before we wrap up now. How can Nigerians and civil societies hold key players accountable to being transparent and bring good reform to the oil and gas sector?
Well, I think that the civil society organizations, they have a job cut out for them. I don't know. Even operating in this environment, it's a very tough one, because even as a civil society person, are they allowed to operate freely? You look at the danger they subject themselves to. So you challenge the government, you take the government to court, and then government is not responsive. You don't know what's happening. You're being hounded yourself, so you come under personal risk. But we have to continue, because then we don't have any other body to call the government to order. You take the National Assembly that should be doing, tracking and so on, and trying to put the executive in place, but it's in the pocket of the executive. And so who's going to be doing it? So I think that's the challenge. So it's led by civil society with all the obstacles they have confronting them, and to begin to do this. At least they will put people, in the spot, and we needed to be doing that. So civil society, they have to try.
Dr. Chizia, I didn't get that last one. Have you landed on your third place?
Yes, I have. I was just saying that civil society, they are not as effective as we would want them to be. We don't have any other body to lean on for this to be done, because the whole state structure has been captured.
Okay. All right, you're going to help us. This is going to be your parting words as a business expert and an economist par excellence. You're going to help business owner now. This is sort of, it's like an advice. What do you think they should do in the short term to navigate this season. You know, whether we like it or not, sometime last year, this time last year, with less than 40,000 or 50,000, you can fill your tank. But now you need about 100,000 to get a full tank. And most times, the PMS is not really stable like that. It gets exhausted in no time. How should business owners manage? How can households also navigate these hard times?
Well, I think that the first thing they need to do is an analysis of the cost structure. That's the first thing you have to do, to find out where the cost is. Because the cost, like you said, could be in diesel. You know, you're buying diesel and so on and so forth. Take, for instance, if you are in the hospitality business and you have to keep your guests are there in the hotel, even the rooms are not as occupied. Okay? You have to discomfort. How do you? And you have to, first of all, make sure you understand what is happening to your business, and find out where. Do an analysis of your expenditure. Find out which expenditure item, it takes up the giant accounts with the giant cost of what you do, and not to be an area to tackle. So if you find, for instance, you are in a hotel and then that you are spending so much on you have a few guests and you're trying to keep the place open because they need some comfort, you have to look at it. So you have to do an analysis and then know what to do. So you know where you make an impact and it will be more effective. And that's very important.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Boniface Chizia, for being on the program. And of course, happy birthday in Arias.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, that was Dr. Boniface Chizia, a business expert who has actually joined us to make sense on the discussion.